Please, no more. I will tell everything. Eh? I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore. These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe. Yes, so when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me. We all agreed to help, everyone together. She threw away everything, her fame in the ballot, Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel. I don't believe it. You are right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night. Yes, I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point. Da! We could not make all drug. How do you say? Dissolve. Talk about heavy seasoning. Starke Gewürze, ja. At midnight, in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was helped by comrades on shore with small fishing boat. While all the passengers of the SS Buria slept soundly. Thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-inducing potion the evening meals had contained. So, if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who disliked chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Kazuma's cabin door. But how does it make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, and there would have been complete chaos. Oh, I wouldn't say so. What? Ah, of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meals of chicken in their cabins, after which they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug. Damn, weil muss ich mir mal vorstellen, da setzt so ein ganzes Schiff in Tiefschlaf, nur um einen Mord zu begehen. Ein ganzes Schiff, damit niemand merkt, dass du diese Vollbremsung machst, damit du das verheimlichen kannst. Das ist schon ein Masterplan, eigentlich. Quite, and accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night. Yes! The overwhelming majority of passengers would habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway. And so, not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. Yeah. You have talked long time and said many things. What is point? The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night. But... I don't know about any of this. I'm just a little girl. You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories we don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes. A laudable trait. What? I am quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes? Do you hear it? That accusatory cry of guilt on the wind. What accusatory cry of guilt? Sorry, you've lost me. proof of involvement, man. But you can't hear such a call with your ears. No. You must hear it with your eyes, for observation is the basis of all deduction. What are you talking about? I believe the time has come. For one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth. Let's go! So, Mr. Naruhodo, your assistance, if you please. With what exactly, Mr. Jones? With observation, my dear fellow. Just as I said, of these two prevaricators. Observation. If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Azugi's death. What we are looking for is some trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened. Precisely. You are delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. Alright, I see what I can see. So we are looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Kazuma died. Okay. What? Chunky arms. Chunky boy. Wait, trägt er bauchfrei? Hot. Ja, tatsächlich, der Bauchnabel. Fanservice. Hier. Inkstain.
Yes!
Seaman Stroganoff. You seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there. Eh? Ah, yes. I don't know where the dirt comes from. So nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain? What are you trying to say? It would appear that the significance of the stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain. It's a very large purple stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform. And I think what made it is clear. Indeed, it is. So, Mr. Naruhodo, present the evidence that proves it. My pleasure. Alright then, the evidence that proves that what that stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform really is. Is here.
Yes!
Crime scene photograph. Yes, it's this photograph. And the ink it shows. That's what caused the stain on your uniform. Ink? A rather unusual color of ink. Purple. Ah! Ah, the penny drops. At last. Now you see the significance. The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. And the stain on the back of your uniform is ink of exactly the same color. If the ink had been dry, it couldn't possibly have stained your uniform in that way. Which means you must have been present in the cabin in the moments immediately after the ink was spilled. Get good. Genau. Alright, yes. It was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in that student's cabin to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Then I pressed button to make Buria do emergency stop and bolt cabin door shut. I did everything so no one would suspect our angel. Biff, please. Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty, patrolling passageway. Then our angel came to me. She was white like sheet. Biff, please, you must help me. I went with her. The door to cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw a student boy on floor. What happened here? please, don't tell anyone. My little one. My little furry friend. Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you. The kitten escaped through the ventilator into Mr. Azogi's cabin. Then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell to the floor. Yes, that is right. So after the incident, when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers, only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor. She said she was worried when she heard sound of something falling on floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel? The door was not locked, so she opened to look and you already know what happened after. Aber wieso waren die Leute denn vorher betäubt? Warum hatten wir denn vorher die Sleeping Drug bekommen? Das muss ja vorbereitet gewesen sein. Das macht hier keinen Sinn. That's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind. Okay, kommt das jetzt? What? When you went to Mr. Azogi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why? I already told you. Okay. When Nina opened door of student's cabin and looked inside, I was asking Miss Pavlova. Okay, wenn Blicke töten könnten. Well, Miss Pavlova. Da. Oh. Yes, that is right. I saw him. It was dark, and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared. Das macht keinen Sinn irgendwie. I understand, and I believe you. So is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Kazuma's death at last? Ah, something very nearly slipped my mind. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. This photograph. Yes, I took this myself, you know. The cause of death was a broken neck, therefore the victim died instantly. And the unfortunate incidents that precipitated these events, a kitten on which the victim stumbled. However, if those are the facts, there's one particular area in this photograph that seems to me somewhat unnatural. Ja, die Schrift. What do you mean, unnatural? What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, well... If Kazuma tripped and fell and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck, which part of this photograph printing seems unnatural? Warum drehen wir uns gerade im Kreis? Das hatten wir doch alle schon gesagt, oder nicht?
Yes!
This word in Russian clearly wasn't written by Kazuma. So if you're looking for something unnatural, that's the obvious point. Very true. It is certainly peculiar, but it's not what I meant by unnatural, I'm afraid. That particular quest detail was orchestrated by the culprit. Achso. I mean to identify another point. Let's see. Imagine, if you will, losing your footing yourself. In my opinion, if you landed as the victim appears to have done here, it would be most unnatural. I'm sure you will reach the same conclusion. How thoughtful you are, Mr. Sholmes. Thank you for your gentle guidance. Okay. Ja, dann Kazuma.
Yes!
It must be here, surely. Allow me to offer you a piece of advice regarding the pursuit of detection, my dear fellow. When noting a crucial point, it can be helpful to keep your eyes open. They were open. And it can be equally helpful to use them. Okay. Sorry, I tried that. I think it's plain what Mr. Sholmes means by unnatural, isn't it? It's the word written in a foreign language underneath his fingertips, surely. That particular quest detail was orchestrated by the culprit. No, I mean to identify another point. Huh? What of your hands? You look like the sort of fellow who stumble with some regularity. This should be an easy task. Why do I? Ja, dann die Arme?
Yes!
Alright, if he really fell due to an unfortunate accident, then this fist just doesn't seem quite right. The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat. Yet, here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist. Almost, you might say, as though he were gripping something. What do you mean? Simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago. You did? And what, pray, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow? Mr. Sholmes, show us, please. Why, of course, my dear madam, would I keep you in suspense? This is what I found. Oh, 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 a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle. Yes, you're right, a crescent moon. It's very pretty, but what does it tell us? It tells us nothing. I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks... It looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before. Ja, die Ohrringe, da habe ich noch gesagt, schöne Ohrringe. Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. This is the key. What? The truth is now tantalizingly close. How did that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist? This is the final clue, the last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe. Find the answer with your own eye. Ja, da brauchst du gar nicht zu gucken, ne? Wir sehen das doch. She has such petite ears among that beautiful hair, like pink shells. Oh, what's that? There's something dangling down from her ear. Yes, that's an earring. Wait. Look! It's a crescent moon. Ah! There can be no doubt now, surely. Fuck! Miss Pavlova, on your ear there. I see you have a crescent moon as well. Ah! What? And on your other ear. There seems to be a crescent moon missing. The little link holding it on must have broken, I suppose. Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there's only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Miss Pavlova, Mr. Asogi must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, last night, in Mr. Asogi's cabin, you witnessed the moment when the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at arm's length from him. But then the question is, why did Mr. Asogi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it in his clenched fist during his final moments? Oh no! Angel? No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, What did you do to Kazuma? Ah! It! Okay. Ich glaube definitiv nicht, dass wir noch ins Gericht kommen. When I think about everything that happened yesterday, it was too much. Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge ship. And then, when I was at last in this cabin and I could relax after this horrible, long day. Daka, wait! I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy. But nothing worked. Daka would not come back. What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. Hosonaga, meinte er. The young man from your country. He was very polite and kind. He helped me to find Daka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again, and I was going to leave the man's cabin. Just a moment, sorry, but... Oh, yes? I'm sure I know your face. Oh no. I've seen you somewhere before. Ah! Ah, of course, you're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina. Oh nein. Und das hat sein Schicksal besiegelt. Huh? No, I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land in the faraway east know a Russian ballerina? Yes, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But what are you doing on the ship? I'm sure I read your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment. I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth, and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice. I see. So you've run away. Please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone. Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. He's going to pull that cord. He's going to tell the captain. Oh nein, er wollte nur uns fragen. Er wollte nur uns fragen und sie dachte, er zieht am Strang. Why did I think I could trust him? Then it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait, I shouted, and then... Daka jumped out of my arms and down to the young man's feet. And... as he turned around to look at me... I pushed him. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And I had to stop him from telling anyone about me. And that's when you went to fetch help. From Seaman Stroganov, who was on duty out in the passageway. I heard Nina cry out and thud on floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at cabin door, shaking like leaf. She looked at me and said, "Help me, Biff. If they find out, I will be Please, I have nowhere to go. Damn. So you decided to help. And that's when you arranged things in Kazuma's cabin to make it look like I did. So that no one would suspect the passenger in the cabin next door. Yes. I went into cabin and I looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. And then I found Stowaway. In wardrobe, still sleeping. Right. That's when you found me. So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on the Stowaway. I closed wardrobe doors and put back strange paper sign. Luckily for me, that's the only reason Susato-san started to believe me when I said I was innocent. I dragged young man's body to good place and used ink that was spilling to white on floor. I wrote, so that person who found him would look inside wardrobe and find Stowaway. And tell me, what of the glass bell? It was by my feet, so I picked it up. I see. But it was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half. Then Angel went back to her cabin, and I finished job by pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway. Yes. Accordingly, the SS Buria did indeed come to an emergency halt at a little after 2 p.m. Thus anticiping the bolt on the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery. There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova. What? Well, you said that you told Kazuma about the fact that you'd run away from your homeland. And it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right? Yes. But even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem? Stimmt. It was what he said first. That made me scared. What he said first. What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh, yeah, okay. Oh. I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. He said an inspector was his friend. Ah, yes, meaning me, who was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard. I thought that if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before you could pull the bell cord, May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It just doesn't seem to make sense. Susato pointet einfach immer alles, aus. Ja, sie zeigt immer alles auf, was nicht keinen Sinn macht. Ist interessant, dass sie hat scheinbar, sie einfach Big Brain Susato ist sie einfach. I mean, was Mr. Asugi really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know. What? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Ja, wollte uns fragen. Well, I'm not Kazuma, so I can't know for certain. But he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give your secret away, then he wouldn't have done. No, he was walking over to it. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not yet done, it seems. There's one more deduction to make. What? Another deduction? Yes. What action was the victim really about to take at that moment? Can we determine whither the young man's gaze was directed? First, consider the victim's location within his cabin. That's easy. I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yes, I spent quite a lot of time in the wardrobe, but still. That cabin has been my home for the entire voyage. So this is how the cabin looked last night when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-sama. Yes, it's exactly how it was. Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, if there's one thing I've learned today, it's that a simple gaze can reveal all manner of truth. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze to where it lands. So, when he turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at? Ja. Die Bellcord, ne? Nein, den Schrank natürlich. Oh nein, ich wollte nicht drücken. The wardrobe. My wardrobe. I was in there at the time, of course, sleeping soundly. Too soundly. If only I hadn't eaten the chicken that was laced with the sleeping drug. If only he'd woken me up. Then maybe this tragedy would never have happened.
Take that!
Damn, nicer Übergang. Considering everything that had happened last night. Certainly it may have looked as though Kazuma was going to ring the bell cord. Yes, however, what is directly beside the bell cord? The wardrobe. The wardrobe. And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? The man's great friend, sleeping soundly. Ah! Miss Pavlova, please, think back very carefully. What were Mr. Azogi's exact words last night? Give me a moment, I could use another opinion here. Another opinion? Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Azogi intended to consult his close friend on the matter. To see if between them they might be able to help in some way, no doubt. Oh, no! Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you had made sure of what Mr. Azogi was looking at. Things may have ended very differently, if you had. Das ist ja irgendwie tragisch, richtig. Miss Pavlova, I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did, and that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that. I am sorry. Really, I'm so sorry. What have I done? Naja, es war ja nicht richtig gewollt. Es war ja, sie hat ihn ja geschubst, aber ich glaube, sie hatte nicht geplant, dass er dann hinfällt. And so, at long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS Buria was finally laid to rest.